Well, good day, folks, and welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I'm your host, Neil Johnson. Excited to be with you, excited to share the news with you. This is really, I would call this kind of a bombshell report. You guys will have to be the judge for yourselves. As I get into this, it's really a big cover-up story and misuse of funds, but in a big way, and it's just bad. But anyways, here, real quick, mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack will save you up to 75%. I'm a pillow salesman, and I love it. Sheets too. Stuff is fantastic. I love it. No, I do. You know, I mean, I got the coffee, you know, my Freedom Hill coffee. I just got this. I'm going to try it based upon all of my fine listeners telling me to do so. But promo code Lumberjack. I love you people. You people have been so wonderful to me. Thank you. Seriously. All right, on to the news. This out of just the news. John Solomon's doing the Lord's work over there. COVID relief funds diverted to New York CRT style K through 12 training via Biden American Rescue Plan. I kid you not. The New York State Education Department is diverting federal pandemic relief funds to a controversial curriculum steeped in CRT, which will train students to identify inequities and biases supposedly deeply embedded in the country and in their own lives, and to plumb the root causes of inequality. Now, before I read it, I want you to do something for me. Go ask a couple people you know. Couple kind of middle of the road, you know, I don't care about politics people, okay? Ask them this question. If you knew the government took your COVID relief funds and diverted them to something else, would that bother you? Okay? Ask them that question. Would that bother you? Because they probably are going to bother them. You got to set the table when you're bringing them this stuff, people. You've got to get them engaged. You got to engage their brain. Don't just give them information. Ask them some tough questions. New York's public schools have been awarded a total of nearly $9 billion. That's billion with a B, folks. Do you know how much money a billion is? It's a lot of money. It's incomprehensible, okay? In elementary and secondary school emergency relief aid from federal pandemic relief programs through the U.S. Department of Education, the bulk of it funded by America Rescue Plan, right? Which, again, remember I told you about ownership of words? It's not an American Rescue Plan. That's just the marketing name, okay? Now we find out it's the CRT funding plan, a $1.9 trillion bill sold as COVID-19 relief and economic recovery measure. One of NYSED's, see, again, sold. I sell pillows. They're selling you on taking the very money that they force you to give them and using it for something else. It's a sham. It's a scam. Critics denounce CRSE as a variant of critical race theory, a racially deterministic creed condemning American life and history as pervasively racist that has made inroads into public K through 12 education, provoking a grassroots parental backlash in school districts across the country. Thank you so much for rising up, running for school boards, and turning all those school boards. Just here in November, we need to do it again next year, okay? I forgot to read you this part. One of NYSED's 3 spending priorities for ESSER funding will be its culturally responsive sustaining education framework. That's the CRSE that I was just talking about, which purports to empower students, to empower students to learn using aspects of their race, social class, gender, language, orientation, nationality, religion, or ability. I will guarantee you it's not the Christian religion. Just saying, moving ahead. The idea of culturally responsible education was created by education theorist Gloria Ladson-Billings, who is also the first writer to apply critical race theory to the field of education, according to Kurtz. Culturally responsive education and CRT are overlapping and mutually reinforcing pedagogies, Kurtz told Just the News. The term CRT is rightly applied to a number of educational approaches: anti-racism, diversity, equity, and inclusion, culturally responsive teaching, and the like. They are all close variations of CRT. New York's CRSE program details teachers and students' roles in eliminating the racism and privilege it teaches roles in eliminating the racism and privilege it teaches is inextricably bound up with the country's history. Students will be taught to continually reflect their own implicit biases, which will help in turn dismantle systems of biases and inequities rooted in our country's history, culture, and institutions. Okay, again, okay, stuff just ticks me off because what they're doing here, have you, honestly, answered this question? In fact, this would be another great question to ask people, okay, is have you seen race relations improve under Obama? Did you see, has the country seemed to be more stable in race relations since CRT has been adopted? Really? I mean, have we seen less riots or more? Do you understand? These are the things you have to ask people to get them to think. I need you guys to be evangelists for the cause of critical thinking, please. This is what we're about here. We're not just about giving you the news. I'm giving you some good stuff here, some questions you can ask people. Just setups, okay? So you can get into these conversations. But if you just give people information, they can dismiss that. Questions they have to answer. I worked in sales my whole life, okay? I was a top salesperson in my industry in the country because I knew the other players. I knew their numbers, okay? So, and it was selling sales training. So, you learn that questions are what you have to do. Anyways, so that's what I'm just trying to teach you. Use questions. All right. All right. Let's see. New York CRSE framework explicitly states that it's grounded in Ladson Billings' mid-1990s work on culturally relevant teaching, Kurtz emphasized. To repeat, Ladson Billings also happens to be the founding mother of CRT and K through 12. Ladson Billings is a member of the committee that helped craft New York's CRSE framework. Django Paris, another committee member, is a student of Ladson Billings. Alfredo Artiles, another committee member, advocates for the use of CRT in schools, but backtracked after severe public backlash arose against instilling the racially divisive ideology in public school students. There you go. If you want to, we've got to have the backlash. You've got to show up there. Even though they're going to label you, right, a domestic terrorist because you dared show up and care about your kids, you got to get involved. They've got to feel the backlash, okay? The New York, by the way, and the backlash they need to feel is not cussing at them. Don't do that, please. I had that Josue Lugo on the other day. And if you guys want to check out, he's been doing an affidavit campaign in New Hampshire schools. You can go check out that live from yesterday, okay? But, and he gives you the instructions. You don't, you got to look like a decent person, man. You're not going to win the battle going in there cussing. Please don't do that. Okay. Now, I would completely, totally, 100% forgive the dad who was accused of lying and that his daughter was lying when she was assaulted in a bathroom, okay? I forgive that guy, and there's nothing that should be done to that. That's ridiculous, okay? And his lawsuit, he should win in smashing fashion, and because you cannot replace what happened to that girl. I'd be mad too. I've got 3 daughters. Don't mess with my daughters, okay? Rather than treating every American as a unique individual entitled to equality before the law, the CRSE framework divides us inherently privileged or oppressed identity groups, argues Kurtz. The framework is closely designed to turn students into political activists working on behalf of leftist causes, he said, adding that this framework cannot serve as a basis for fair-minded education. And that's why the schools are so important, and that's why they're going so hard after them, and that's why we need to get back in the schools as conservatives and take those school boards back and start getting things grounded in reality again. I love you, folks. Thanks so much for supporting the show. Remember to subscribe if you haven't. Sponsor links are all below in the description, and I'll pin them in the comments. Okay, again, I love you, but we got to stay active. We got to stay engaged. Don't give up. Please don't give up. I know it's frustrating, but don't give up. Keep praying too. It's a spiritual war. This is a spiritual battle. Okay, you got to keep praying. We need God's favor. Repent. We all need to repent. I love you all. Peace out.